At around 9:15 p.m. on December 6th, a 7-year-old Guatemalan girl named Jacqueline Call and her father turned themselves into U.S. border officials in New Mexico. Call was in U.S. custody for about 8 hours in a remote facility before eventually being taken to a larger facility and then on to emergency medical care. She died of dehydration and exhaustion a day later. Now, the first impulse in a morally functioning person upon hearing the story is despair, grief, and empathy. But those traits are largely absent in the current leadership of Homeland Security, and so instead, they have spent much of the time blaming the girl's father.
Yeah, it's heart-wrenching is what it is, and my heart goes out to the family, all of DHS. This is just a very sad example of the dangers of this journey. This family chose to cross illegally. What happened here was they were 90 miles away from where we could process them. They came in such a large crowd that it took our Border Patrol folks a couple times to get them all. We gave immediate care. We'll continue to look into the situation, but again, I cannot stress how dangerous this journey is when migrants choose to come here illegally.
Comments from a DHS spokesperson on paper were even worse, spending nearly the entire time castigating migrants, including the line, quote, "Once again, we are begging parents to not put themselves or their children at risk attempting to enter illegally. Please present yourselves at a port of entry and seek to enter legally and safely." But here's the thing. This administration has quite publicly, systematically, and possibly illegally been making it harder to do just that. As Dara Lind of Vox wrote, families have been stopped outside ports of entry before they can even set foot on U.S. soil and trigger their legal asylum rights. Yes, it's true, the journey is dangerous, but that's in part because CBP makes it more dangerous on purpose. Border Patrol, for example, has dumped water left by Good Samaritans in the desert to prevent people from dying of thirst. So here, then, is the logical conclusion of the Trump administration's stated policy of deterrence. The only way to deter people desperate enough to undertake such a journey is to be even more monstrous than whatever it is they're fleeing. And that is what the Trump administration seems determined to do. Which means that to the people running this country right now, Jacqueline Call's terrible, unnecessary death isn't a horrifying failure. It's a useful talking point.